Well, when I came out of architectural school, I worked for Oscar Stonerov. And Oscar put together, had worked with Ed Bacon and decided to put together an exhibit of Frank Lloyd Wright's work. The AI Philadelphia chapter wasn't quite up to Wright yet, Sidney Martin and all the good old people. And so at any rate, Oscar went out to Wisconsin and collected all the stuff, and Bob Venturi and I, his two draftsmen at that moment, got a room at Gimbel's, and the Gimbel's gang put on an exhibit there, and Oscar would send back boxes after boxes of drawings and stuff, and we would get them all reproduced and put together. Anyway, we put together a wonderful exhibit on Frank Lloyd Wright, and then naturally he came and had to go through and see it. Well, at the reception, he was standing in line, and I was one of the first ones to go through because we'd worked with him. Well, I don't know, Frank was about 5'6" with heels. So when I got to him, it was about like that. And I worked on one of his houses, and I kept hitting my head, low ceilings, I don't even know the scales. And as I got to him, I had some smart aleck things I was about to say, like that, when I realized that wasn't going to work. So I looked at him and I smiled, and he looked up at me and he smiled, and we shook hands and I went on by. But it was a little moment in history in which Wright and Lippincott met on the same place. And I'll never forget the first job that I'm a Quaker, member of Abington Friends Meeting over in Jenkintown. Growing up there, we had a beautiful little stone building which was where the horses, there was a shed to take care of the horses' material. When I was a little older, we turned it into a Sunday school classroom, but it wasn't any good. So my first job as an architect, the day I graduated from Penn in '48, was to remodel the short stable at Abington Friends Meeting into a Sunday school classroom for young friends. So that's job number one. So
is that structure still standing? Or? Still
standing and still doing what it did then. Now, I put together a fireplace, cleaned it out inside, the stone walls, new windows, but and the roof's the same. I built a stone fireplace and put in a washroom and a bathroom, and then a wooden floor and benches and a Sunday school classroom, and the young people meet in there and still do. So it's, I don't know, it was probably built 100 years before that for horses, but at any rate, it was still a good building.
What made you go into architecture to begin with? What made you go to the School of Architecture?
Well, I don't know. As a boy, I'd always been interested in drawing, and I remember in first grade, I was given an award by the student, which was a box of colored pencils, which I'd never seen before, because I like to draw. And some teacher, whether she was cognizant or not, I don't know, gave me a little box of colored pencils, which I used to draw with. Oddly enough, my father was born back in 1877, and he was very interested in drawing and was very interested in buildings. And his mother died of tuberculosis. From the Civil War to the First World War, TB was a terrible international plague. And his father got tuberculosis and got over it. Anyway, when father got to college at Penn, he wanted to study architecture. But everybody knew that architects worked like this, over a table, inside, all the time, hunching over it. That was bad on your lungs. And so his father said, nope, I want you to work outside. He wants to do some other job, not architecture. So he went into writing, publishing, and all that. But anyway, in a sense, that was in the background, and I got interested in architecture while I was a student at Haverford College, liberal arts college, majored in history, but never had a chance to take any courses until after the war, when I suddenly made the decision, instead of being a history teacher, I'll be an architect. So I went into Penn.